Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 19 of What Lies Ahead, the discussion series that the Bay Club is having with its members in the community about the private clubs becoming an essential business and part of phase one. For the last few episodes, we've been having conversations with members in each one of our regions about what is it going to look like when we reopen, and the work that we have been doing to make sure that our clubs are safe spaces for our members and our associates when we have the ability to open up and have our phase one operations begin. And so today we're going to have that conversation with a group of members that come from our South Bay campuses, Redwood Shores, Santa Clara, San Jose, and Los Gatos. And we're just thrilled that they've joined us this morning. I always like to start out by saying thank you to some of the members who write us at thenewnormal@bayclubs.com. We've had some great notes in the last couple of days come from Shannon Walden, Carl and Cynthia Asai, and Randy Hoffman. So, it's one thing to watch. It's another thing to then watch and sit down and write a note and just know that we're reading them, responding to them, but appreciating them as well. They're getting into our planning sessions. So with that, let's start with introductions. Lori Miner, why don't we start with you?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Lori. I am the general manager at Santa Clara. I have been with the company for 19 years, started my career over at Courtside Club in the family program world and jumped into the operations world about halfway in. I'm really excited to be back here today and have this conversation with everyone, and super excited to get our members back in the club.
Great, thanks for joining us. Brian, I'll go to you next.
Good morning, everybody. My name's Brian Derrick, and I'm the Vice President of Golf Course Operations for the Bay Club. And I started my career down at Fairbanks Ranch about 38 years ago and spent my whole life down there pretty much. But excited to get the members back, and we've got some really exciting and good things happening up at Boulder Ridge. So looking forward to getting you back on the golf course.
I think everybody's getting ready to get back on the golf course. Thanks, Brian. Simone, I'll go to you next.
Morning, everyone. My name is Simone Loiba. I am the Vice President, General Manager at Bay Club Courtside. Been at Courtside almost 5 years now. And I've been in the industry 19 years. Started on the group exercise side and worked my way up into management and operations.
Great, thank you for being here. Mohanjeet, if I could go to you next, please.
Sure. This is Mohanjeet Jolly. We're based in Palo Alto, family of 5, 3 squash players, and we've been active part of both Santa Clara and Redwood Shores for the past 4 years, and cannot wait to get back on court, get back on the machines.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Amanda, I'll go to you next.
Hi, I'm Amanda Phillips. I'm an attorney and mortgage broker, family of 7 kids ranging from age 10 to 18, and we all use the club at Redwood Shores and cannot wait to get back.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Jerry, I'll go to you next.
Hi, I'm Jerry Swartz, and live in Los Altos, and we utilize the Santa Clara Club as well as Boulder Ridge. And we've been Sapphire members for about the last 4 years, Barb and I have. And like everybody else, we just can't wait to get back out there and meet all our friends.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Brendan, why don't I go to you next?
Thanks, Annie. Good morning. I'm Brendan O'Sullivan. I've been a member at initially Courtside since 2004. And my partner Karen's been a member there since the 80s. We expanded our membership to include Boulder and Stone Tree when that occurred. And we use the fitness and the tennis and the golf, and I'm learning how to swim. So we're pretty excited about the opportunities.
That's great. Thanks for being here this morning. Ray, I'll go to you.
Hi, thanks, Annie. My name is Ray Manning. I'm the Vice President General Manager at Bay Club Redwood Shores. I've been with the company for just under 2 years. After spending some time in our San Francisco campus, I've recently joined the family here in the South Bay at Bay Club Redwood Shores. My hospitality experience prior to the Bay Clubs coming from the hotel restaurant industry, and I'm really excited to get our clubs open this month. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Okay, boss, I think we're ready to start the conversation.
Well, it's great to see everybody. Thank you guys for getting together with us this morning. Amanda, I'm going to start with you. First of all, wondering how life is surviving with a house full of kids. And we were chatting earlier about what the grocery bill looks like. So we're definitely not worthy everything that you're doing. And second, want to know what's on your mind and what kind of questions can we answer as we get closer to opening the doors?
Well, thankfully, I love to cook, so that part's been fun, but the grocery bills have been high, and the amount of dishes have been extremely high. You can't walk into a room thinking it's clean, because the second you walk out, it is not. But having everybody home and safe and healthy is, what we're really thankful for, and just trying to keep everyone that way. And wanting to get back in the club to keep our energy levels, have a place to get all that energy out and exercise and keep our minds and bodies balanced is what we're really looking forward to. My main questions have to do mostly with the gym, how it's going to work cleanliness wise and social distancing wise with weights and machines, and then also with the pool, whether the kids are going to have access and when, and how that's going to work with social distancing also, and any information you have about the virus and how it spreads, or if it spreads in the pool, and whether we should as parents be thinking about concerns of that as the weather warms up and we all want to get out in the sun.
It's great. Well, key topic, right? Because everything in our side of the world is focused on what are the protocols, what's the new norm going to look like. Ray, I'm going to have you sort of kick us off, sort of talking about everything that's being done behind the curtain that we're about to bring out to the membership base this week. But let's go sort of piece by piece on some of Amanda's requests.
Yeah, of course. Thank you very much for the question. So we've been working really hard to kind of envision what the kind of grand opening of our clubs will look like. And given that we'll be required to have social distancing, we've taken a look at every single zone of the club and what that process would look like. So the member experience will move to a reservation-based system to allow us to control and organize how many members will be in different spaces of the club. By way of example, you mentioned fitness. We've been working hard to not just space out fitness equipment within here at Redwood Shores, our fitness floor, but also taking the opportunity to also relocate fitness equipment and cardio equipment to other areas inside the club, as well as in outdoor spaces. By way of example, a member would be able to go on to their Bay Club Connect app and make a reservation for a zone within the fitness floor. We've worked hard to space out and create zones that would allow individuals to work out with adequate space, as well as with a variety of equipment in their own area within that club, by way of example. With touching on specifically in that same fitness and strength area, with our staffing levels and with the assistance of members, we'll be able to work together to ensure that your equipment is clean and sanitized prior to use, and then once again, after use, before the next member uses that area or zone.
Yeah, so what you're going to hear is a term for us, it's a pod. So 10 by 10 pods. So the clubs have been broken into 10 by 10 pods throughout the entire property. The great news about our business is that if you take Redwood Shores, it's a 10-acre site. So we're really going to use the indoor-outdoor element of it. We've taken the equipment from the fitness floor, spread it out over the basketball courts, over the outdoor areas, and the areas that we don't think are going to be able to provide social distancing, we're using that extra square footage. So let's take pool decks and basketball courts. We don't think basketball is going to be in the phase 1 or phase 2 because it's very hard to create social distancing with a full court basketball type of setup. So we've used the basketball courts to give us a much greater space to spread things out. And then pool decks, we have an enormous amount of square footage associated with the pool decks. We are creating 10 by 10 pods for families to be able to sit together out on a pool deck, but typically you would have come to our clubs like any other great swim and tennis experience and had chair after chair sort of stacked next to each other. That won't be the case for at least phase 1 and phase 2 of the process. So you're using some of that space to be able to do potentially a cycling class outdoors, where the cycling bikes can be spread out in a 10 by 10 pod, and we can have 20 of people doing a cycling class outdoors in a great environment, in a safe, socially distant environment from that perspective. The other one that I think you threw to us is about the pools. So the CDC has stated that the pools, chlorinated pools, definitely have a success against the virus. So the using and having of lap swimming and allowing people to use the pools is looked upon as a very positive environment. But we will create social distancing. So for example, we would have a point where you would either, as an individual, your children who are over the age of 13 could reserve a lane at one of the pools, or you as a family could choose to say, I want 2 or 3 of the kids want to play in a lane, and they'll have a lane. So it'll be socially distanced. Each group or each person will have a lane from a family mechanics on that side of the world. We're about to come out with all of the details this week. So we'll spend about a week to 10 days in advance of the club's opening, educating all of the members and sort of explaining how this is going to work. The other piece of it is a reservation system. So we're going to call it an open table concept. Our golf, tennis, and squash members are used to reservations. Their world won't be impacted by this. It'll stay in that same format. But the rest of the club will go into sort of an open table environment where we're going to advise you, like if you went to a popular restaurant, make a reservation ahead of time. When you show up, you'll go into the reservation line, queued correctly, 6 feet socially distanced, but we'll have a zone ready for you to basically, in a pod, ready for you to be able to go. Whether or not that may be yoga, cycling, could be a cardio workout, a strength workout, we'll have a pod ready for you to basically be able to use. If you don't have that, you can come, but you'll queue up, and what we have available at that time, we will let you know. What we're going to do is hopefully train the membership base to take advantage of the open table reservation concept so that they can plan. And you can do multiple reservations throughout the day and use our clubs for a whole variety of things, as long as we have the space available based on the proper social distancing of each one of the pods. So we definitely have some time. We've got to spend some time educating everybody on it, but an enormous amount of work is going on behind the scenes to get the clubs ready to welcome you guys back to the clubs. All right, so that's one topic. Let's go to Jerry. What's on your mind? I know you've been sending us a lot of good feedback on various things associated with Boulder Ridge. So what's on your mind?
Like everyone else, been very anxious to not only see the course and see what great shape it's in, Brian, because I know you've done a great job there making it look fantastic. But just, again, how are we going to handle the social distancing with, golf itself? What are some of the specific things like getting the ball out of the hole, as an example, to, going into the men's locker room? And, how do we make sure that we're still enjoying the entire facility, but still maintaining the social distancing itself? I'd like to kind of get into some specifics about that. And obviously, how this will work with families that may want to come up, after, a certain time to enjoy the course as well. So guidelines on that and how we would address that. And how soon can we get on that reservation system? That's the next question.
That's great. All right, Brian, Derek, you want to take some stabs at a few of those and I'll fill in the blanks?
Perfect, thanks. So Jerry, what we're looking for the golf course, some of the things like the device that you sent us over, we had seen that. We think we're looking at between that and there's another device between the two, but that is one of the things. Removing the ball washers is going to be something. You won't have the sand bottles on the carts. The rakes, the rake will go on the golf cart. We won't have any rakes out on the course. The sanitizing the cart. Each cart will be sanitized before it goes out. And there's 2 different staging areas, one where you'll pick up your cart and one where you'll drop it off. And then the water, things like water is something that we'll ask the members to bring their own water. And then as far as clubs goes, once you pick up your clubs, you'll take your clubs home, so the staff won't be handling any of the clubs. But And then as far as the walking the course, that's something we've been talking about doing, is having tea times in the morning up to a certain time, and then the afternoon could be used for walking the golf course, possibly picnicking, throwing the frisbee around, football, things like that.
Well, the way we've approached it, I would tell you, USGA has been great. The NorCal and SoCal groups have been great as we've been preparing to reopen the golf side of things. The good news is California's got a number of areas in the state of California that are open. So Sacramento's open, Ventura County's open, Riverside County is open. And so everybody's being able to test this a little bit before we're able to get San Diego, Boulder, and Stone Tree open from that perspective. So I think we're in pretty good shape on the sort of the guidelines of how this is going to work from a CDC perspective. So just recapping, we are attempting to have golf carts, but it'll be one person per golf cart unless it's the same family. We will have everything sanitized on the cart, so you'll have those. We're going to put the brakes on the cart for you, so therefore you can use bunkers, but you'll have your own rake that you'll be using from your cart. And we'll also have little rakes for people that are walking the course that they can put it on their, on their bag from that perspective. The pins, you gave us a great suggestion, and we've gone ahead and purchased the putter component. So therefore, we'll have that available for the members to be able to retrieve your ball without having to touch the flag stick or be able to reach into the cup. You use your putter to basically release the golf ball from the hole on that perspective. The courses are in great condition. We did all of the aeration, fairways, roughs, and greens during this time period. The maintenance staff has been working the entire time, so the courses are in the best condition that they've ever been in.
Good.
We typically tail off after 5 o'clock or so in that neighborhood as far as usage. And so what we're probably going to do is run full 18-hole tee times through a certain window, and then we'll start to tail those off and open up, say, if you take Boulder Ridge, the front 9 will be used for the ability for families and people to walk the course. Boulder's a little bit hilly, so it's not like riding your bicycle on it. So people can walk the course. We can allow picnics in some of the fairways. We can use the front 9 to be used a little bit differently than it typically would because of all this social distancing environment that we need to accommodate for. But that will be at the end of the day. It's not meant to be at 11 o'clock in the morning. It'll be at the end of the day. We're going to work with a bunch of the local restaurants to have picnics and or to-go food for, so you can come over to the club, enjoy it. You may be able to go out on the course and enjoy a picnic, or you can have a family meal that you can take after you're done from a certain time on. And we're originally we're going to partner with the local restaurants to give them some extra business, and then we'll fire up our food and beverage, sort of probably phase 2, phase 3. But in phase 1, we're going to partner with the local restaurants and create a to-go opportunity for family meals after a certain time. People can make reservations for us. I hope that fills in a few of the questions. How do we do on your hit list of things?
Real good. I only have one other quick question. That's if you elect to walk, should you bring your own push cart? Are there enough push carts? I don't think there are, but I just wanted to bring that up as what we should do there.
Yeah, Fairbanks and Stone Tree have, because they're much flatter courses, have a number of people that walk the courses. As you know, Boulder's a little bit tougher walk, so people can bring their own push carts with them, but it's a much tougher walk at Boulder, which would slow down. We're probably not going to sort of put that out first because that'll create a really tough pace of play for the course. So we're going to fire up the carts, but we'll keep it socially distanced, and we'll have enough inventory of carts to make sure we're good to go. They've been resting. The batteries are in good shape, so be good to go from that perspective.
Good.
All right, let's go over to Monji. You got rock star squash players in this family. Rumor has it some of the trophies have made it to that household of yours. There, is that correct?
That is correct, and it's really all thanks to Bay Club. So thank you for making that happen. So yeah, so we are a squash family. So the kids especially are eager to get back on the court. So understanding the protocol, understanding the timing is key for us. We're also a family that goes for personal training, and so based on what you said earlier, just figuring out logistics, is there going to be some sort of priority perhaps for families where the kids may be going for squash and the adults may be going for a personal training session? Or does the open table, really it's a democratized process, so it all depends on what's available and what's not. And I guess a related question, just from a Bay Club standpoint is, I don't know what the curve looks like in terms of time of day and day of week, et cetera, in terms of crowding and capacity planning. So are you looking at sort of smoothing that out over the course of the evenings and weekends, and in the process perhaps upsetting some of the clientele who may not be able to get access to the club when it's convenient for them?
Yeah, great questions. Laura, why don't you stay with sort of the fundamentals of how it's being laid out and a little bit more on the reservation system, and then I'll take a little bit more of the technical answers beyond that. Is that fair?
Yeah, of course. So we've been working really hard just squash is going to be no different. You'll make your reservations. The team has been working really hard and getting really creative. It's been interesting to watch our black and white world of squash and seeing these squash directors get really creative. How can we still, how can we teach lessons? How can we sanitize the courts in between each lesson, whether it's, your kids kind of taking lessons together or utilizing the ball machine a little bit more, and coaches on the outside of the courts coaching. So they are working really hard behind the scenes to work through how we're going to be able to continue to coach and train kids and families, and really cool programming for adults. So the reservation system there will remain the same through the same process that you guys are doing now with Tennis Source. And then as far as the training, I think we alluded to earlier, we've worked through a way that your personal trainers can still train clientele, whether it's you and your wife together or one-on-one sessions where they're utilizing family pods or training pods, excuse me. And so you'll have the opportunity to go on and work with your trainer and their schedule to still reserve some space and time throughout the day. And it would be the same. You'd then go on and work with John and or your online booking system for your squash courts as well. So I think as far as watching the traffic, we realized in phase 1 and 2, we're not going to see 1,300, 1,400 visits a day. And we've talked as a operations team on, as once we open phase 1 and 2, just being really flexible and making changes as we see fit. If we see there are certain times of day that are extremely crowded, what can we add in? What can we add in to kind of stretch out where members are wanting to work out? So I think just being really flexible, and it is a bit of a training process for, booking spaces around the club, but we feel really confident that we'll be able to keep up and shift where we see appropriate.
And I think the biggest thing for people to know as they're thinking about it is we're really, I'm not trying to steal a brand, but we're a Whole Foods type of operation. So we don't see the volume of a low price, high volume gym. A typical low price, high volume gym will do 3,000, 4,000 workouts in a day. We'll see 1,200 to 1,400 visits in a day. And we would sometimes get sort of stacked at first thing in the morning, lunch, and right after work. But through the month of September, which, we think that's sort of when the kids go back to school, late August, this is going to be a different world that we're living in. Everybody's at home, and so we expect the curve to sort of have a natural flattening to it, because you don't have a a huge rush of people that are trying to get in first thing in the morning. We have more than enough space on a 10-acre site from indoor outdoor to create these pods. The team has worked really hard. We've taken the equipment. If you think about how big our pool decks are, so think about having 10 by 10 pods all around the pool decks and throughout areas out on the AstroTurf field and things like that, that we've got plenty of opportunities to keep proper spacing. You should expect it to feel like a Whole Foods, and it should be that type of an experience. And with the reservation system, people can see, okay, they don't have any cardio slots available for me right now, but half hour later, I could grab that from that perspective. So I think we walk into this comfortable that you're really not going to be inconvenienced. It's just going to look different. It's going to have a different sort of feel to it in the short run. Because typically in this middle of the summer, you would have hundreds and hundreds of kids doing summer camp, and you would have, every pool chair filled with people sitting out in the sun and doing those types of things. That piece of the puzzle will be missing, but we'll be able to provide different experiences, we think pretty special and exceed people's expectations while we go through sort of May to August is the sort of phase 1, phase 2 window here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
You got it. All right, Brendan, what do you got on your punch list for us?
Jerry asked about, I think the golfing prioritization will take some patience, and you guys have done a lot of good work on it. And the attention and family time is great. I think the one question may be, you touched on the phasing, Matthew, and just clarifying the things you may say are, hey, that's really a phase 3. Sort of in-house, whether it's massage, whether it's spa, whether it's the restaurant facilities. That might be interesting to know beyond the upfront stuff that's already been brought up about bringing golf back on board, and tennis and fitness. So the stuff you see in phase 3, just let people know, we'd be able to say, guys, be patient, that's not here yet.
Simone, I know this definitely is going to involve courtside. We've got an amazingly popular spa there. We've got the Cafe Vita food and beverage. We've got up at Boulder, we've got the big restaurant operation. So those are definitely phase 2, phase 3 items. You want to chat about that a little bit?
Sure. So yes, so the spa is a phase 2, phase 3 item. We're looking to open in phase 1, at courtside specific. We're looking at opening fitness, tennis, and the swimming pool. So that would be our first phase 1. And when you do come back to the club, you will notice that we've moved our fitness not only 6 to 10 feet apart, but we've also moved a lot of our fitness outdoors. So we've got spin bikes on the pool deck. We've got rowers down on the adult pool deck. We've got recumbent bikes on the family pool deck. And then our treadmills are all spaced out. And like we mentioned earlier, our fitness selectorized machines are set up into fitness pods. And then same thing for Cafe Vita. That will also not be open in phase 1. We are looking to, like we mentioned earlier, looking to partner with a local vendor. We've already had some conversations with Double D's to see if we could do some packaged meals with them.
Yeah, so Brendan, your things that you would normally go, how are they going to social distance on that one? Sort of sauna, steam, jacuzzis are going to be pushed back to phase 2, phase 3.
Right.
We'll be able to do basic fundamentals for locker rooms with a capacity not unlike what you're seeing at the grocery stores. Food and beverage will bring back on. The challenge we have with F&B, so do the restaurants, is the social distancing of our staff more than anything else. And so we'd rather partner with the local restaurants and find ways to provide you guys great opportunities and throw them some business in phase 1, maybe into phase 2. But we think by the end of the summer, we'll be fully ramped up on the F&B side of the world, but it'll phase in over time. And in return, we'll partner with a bunch of the local players and try to help them out at the same time. So
that's a really nice plan. That's a nice plan to involve the community, and they'll appreciate it.
Yeah. The other one we're going to do, and not trying to pat ourselves on the back, but we think it's part of our citizen community duty, is we're going to offer a single site membership to every first responder that's worked so hard during this time period. And so pick one of our locations, and through August 31st, they'll have a complimentary membership at the club. And, if that, gives them some extra, spread of sunshine, good, we're glad. And it's the right thing to do from a community perspective. So that's the other piece we're going to try to do to help out on the community side.
Nice.
Good questions, tough questions. This is now getting into the mechanics, right? And so next week, this whole week and over the next 10 days, we're going to spend a lot of time communicating with the Bay Club community and really helping you understand. Each club has done a video of each section of their club and zone of their club, and we'll have sort of a 1, 2, 3 step 1, 2, 3 how to use our new updated technology to be able to make reservations outside of squash, tennis, and golf. Squash, tennis, and golf will still operate the exact same way that they've done all along, and then everything else will be on this other format because we've never really had that type of reservation before. So we'll walk everybody through it. This format of what lies ahead, and you guys willing to come on with us and talk with us, is a way for us to start explaining to members how the new norm is going to look. And we're unbelievably appreciative of you guys giving us some time. So I'm going to toss it back to Annie, and she'll take us down the home stretch here.
I appreciate that. That was a great conversation, and it's exciting to start talking about the details, right? It just means that we are making progress and there's some light at the end of this shelter in place. So I'm going to turn it to my favorite part. What are we thankful for? And a shout out to business. And as we end week 6, I'm going to actually go back to my first, what I was thankful for, and that is my boys. I've got, Mike and I are home with a 16-year-old, a 14-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And, they have been really resilient, and they provide a lot of laughter. And I just appreciate that 6 weeks in, we haven't all lost our minds and we still like each other, and we're having some really nice long family dinners. So I'm very grateful that I am with them every day. And my shout out is to a local barbecue place in Walnut Creek called Sauced. The closest thing to sports for us this week was the NFL draft. And so we made a big deal about it and ordered barbecue and gathered around. And, it was kind of boring, if we're being really honest, but it was there. And so they delivered a great meal, burnt ends and ribs and cornbread. And I got a night off of cooking. So I would love to give a shout out to them. It was awesome. So why don't we start going around and we can, everyone can share. And Jerry, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I have a couple things to be thankful for. I mean, one is my circle of friends. No one has been reported ill, and I really am thankful for that. Obviously, the first responders, and I think we all go to that. Our close people that we know, we want them to be safe. The second thing is that I have some missionary kids that actually have been in Papua New Guinea, and they came back to Texas, where I used to live with my ex, to have a baby. And thank God they're there, they're safe during this pandemic, because I'm not sure how I would have felt if they would have been in Papua New Guinea at the time having their child. So I'm thankful for that. Shout out for a local restaurant we always used to visit. We'd like to. We haven't been back there, but we need to. And it's The Post, and it's a popular bar restaurant in downtown Los Altos. Thank you.
I'm happy to hear that they're safe, and congratulations on the grandchild. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Amanda, let's go to you.
I'm thankful also for so far the health of my family and friends, and all the company that my family gives me in this shelter in place, and for all the hard work that you Bay Club employees are doing to get us back in there safely. Thank you, and we can't wait. My shout out is to Friedland Painting on the Peninsula. They paint residential and commercial, interior, exterior. We got to get our workers back out, and it's a good time to freshen up a house or a business as soon as everyone's allowed out. So Friedland Painting, their number is 650-333-8164. Thank you.
I love that. That's great. We've definitely been doing some home improvement around here.
Give them a call.
It's a good time to do it. Yeah. Mohanjit, I will go to you.
All right. So in this time of social distancing, I've actually coined a new phrase, which I call virtual proximity. So what that means is, I've been having weekly Zoom calls with my UCLA friends, with my old MIT friends, and many of them I hadn't seen or interacted with in decades. And so it's actually given me personally and family as an extension an opportunity to reconnect with folks with whom we had lost sort of physical touch, ironically. And I'm just thankful that, we're safe, we're healthy. Thankfully, I was in Asia. I was able to make it back, was self-quarantined, as was, my mom. And she left India the day before the entire country went on lockdown. So we're just extremely, extremely thankful. And the shout out is twofold. One is to John Perry, the squash guru in Santa Clara, for sending out videos that kids can practice in our backyard while we're in this shelter in place. And the second shout out is to my favorite restaurant called Hobie's. And they're known for their famous coffee cake. Not that I want this particular audience or the Bay Club folks to be eating coffee cakes normally, but I don't actually have an office, but Hobie's is my extended office. So if you guys remember Norm from Cheers, I'm like the Norm for Hobie's, and I'm missing that, and I order out any chance I get. So go Hobie's and go John Perry.
Oh, that's great. That's awesome. Lori, I'll go to you.
Okay, I love Hobie's. So I too, I think, I'm just thankful for family. My son, we are locked in a home together outside of me going into the club. It's the two of us. And I guess, looking at the silver lining, I probably wouldn't have this much quality time with a 15-year-old had he been in sports and school and being as social as our children are. So really grateful for that. Grateful for the virtual distancing. My mom turned 70 and she's up in Boulder Creek, and it was, one of those things that you're just thankful to be able to connect and see everyone's faces. So family, health, the time that we're given to slow down. And then I would say a shout out for a business, Jalisco's in downtown Campbell, is a small business run by a gentleman and his wife and his son, and it's amazing food. We used to go in there once a week and sit, and I'm not the norm, but we're very close with them, and they're still doing online ordering and outside ordering, and you can pick it up very safely. It's delicious Mexican food, and a small business that has been around Campbell for over 30 years. So that would be my shout out for a business.
That's a good shout out, and happy birthday to your mom. Brian, let's go to you.
Okay, well, I'm thankful for, first of all the caretakers that are out there that are, in the front line taking care of all these people, and then social media, because I think so many of us would go nuts if we didn't have all this social media, being able to talk to each other and see each other. So that would be my biggest things I'm thankful for. And then as far as the restaurants, or place, I have to give a shout out to Double D's, Darren and Dean, both members of Bay Club. We go out and pick up salads and dinner and bring it back to home to eat, and those guys have just been really wonderful. So that's my shout out.
Thank you. That's always, I love the member shout outs. Simone, let's go to you.
Right, so I'm thankful for my family, but I'm also thankful for the structure that Bay Club continues to provide in our schedules on our day, when we're living a world right now where there isn't a whole lot of structure. So definitely thankful for my Bay Club family as well. My cat's also thankful that I'm home every day. And And a shout out, it's not a restaurant, I'm gonna do a shout out to a local business in Los Gatos. It's a spa, it's called O Spa, and a friend of mine who owns it, been in business for 10 years. But she has really thought outside of the box this last 5-6 weeks now, just with selling online at home kits and peels to try and get her customers to purchase, and she does delivery. So just a shout out to her small business.
I may need you to send me a link to that. That's necessary with all these Zoom calls. How do you look like you've had 8 hours of sleep? Ray, I'm going to go to you.
Yeah, I'm thankful for a lot of things as well. I really like that terminology, virtual proximity. I can certainly share some experiences. I guess perhaps more specifically, I'm really thankful for my parents. They've come to embrace technology given these times. They've also given me their support from 3,000 miles away in New Jersey where I live. So definitely very thankful to have my strong connection with them, and they're in good health. Similarly to kind of Simone, thankful for the opportunity the Bay Club has given us. It's a really unique time that we have an opportunity to operate in. And I think we'll be really excited how to move forward. In terms of local business, shout out, I live in downtown San Francisco. There's we have so many analogies to the grocery stores we've been looking at. So there's a small grocery store called Casa Lucas Market, 24th Street in Florida. They've probably been busier than ever. I personally love to cook, so I'm always super thankful that they have their employees kind of working bell to bell, keeping things stocked. It's certainly amongst the most unique times, but you know, in addition to all the first responders and those in healthcare, those businesses who are deemed essential, they are still working very hard and providing everything we need to continue our lives. So a special thank you and shout out to them. If anyone needs any specific recipes, ping me offline. They're doing a great job.
We'll have to add that to the Daily Bay. Your Ray's recipes will be a new feature.
Yeah. I'll have to get some posted soon.
I love that. Brendan, let's go to you.
I think my first thankfulness is my partner, Karen. We're self-quarantining. And unfortunately, reality is our kids and grandkids are far away. So we get along. That's really good. She's a great cook. That's really good. And we both enjoy doing hikes. So it keeps you sane and you need a good sense of humor. So she's been great on that. I think the other thing I've seen is whether it's walking the neighborhood or just hearing the patience and kindness being displayed by everybody is amazing. You know, little kids who are home from school that are drawing on the pavements, these signs of encouragement. That's really neat to see. So I think those are probably the two biggest areas. On the shout outs, my first one is to Lenardi's that I can walk across the street to. And the grocery store workers really do fall into that essential area. They're happy, they're positive, and yet they're at risk all the time. So I appreciate that. And they've been doing great through this whole time. And there's a little restaurant called Holder's Country Inn over in Saratoga. If you ever need Sunday morning breakfast, and they're now delivering, they're really great.
Oh, good shout outs. Okay, boss, handed it to you.
Well, first, thank you guys so much for coming on today. It's nice to see everybody, and lots of really good, intense questions as we get ready to sort of move towards the starting blocks. You know, one of the things both Annie and I have been receiving from the members is, you know, they hear us talking about starting and they're like, well, what if I'm not ready to start? If I'm not, you know, I don't feel comfortable starting up as part of it, and I want to take a little bit more time. And we'll come out this week and we'll allow members to go on leave. We'll allow members to do medical hardship, financial hardship. We'll figure out lots of different ways to take care of this membership base. You know, as we said earlier on today when we were talking before the taping, we're in this for the long haul. And we've been in business since '77, and we've got long standing relationships with our community, and we'll figure out a way to work through things with each one of our customers and figure out how this works for them, and we'll find a path. We definitely feel like we have an opportunity to open in a safe, healthy, all CDC and World Health Organization guidelines, but we're not trying to create a stampede through the front door. We're trying to figure out how to turn things on phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, via mental health, physical activity release for our community, and lead the way in our category. And one of the things I think you guys may have heard us talk about is we've allowed all of our, people that we would consider might be competitors of ours, or the smaller operations. We've invited them to have access to all of our materials. We've invited them to all of our team calls and said, hey, if there's something we're doing can help you guys with your business, here it is, full transparency. We want to lead the way and prove that the active lifestyle category can be part of the repairing of the economy, sort of essential services phase 2. Now it's sort of there's phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of that process. But we're very, very focused on doing this correct, really protecting the health of our employees and our community, but also allowing you to get back out and doing some physical activity at your private club environment. So all of the feedback from the customer base, I'd say that's what I'm so thankful for. Our membership base is just willing to talk to us and help us figure out the path together. So thank you. And thank you for all the years you guys have been with us. My shout out's going to go to Stefan up at Lake Comter in San Rafael. He has been helping us out with our 2 new food trucks that we've picked up. It's a French-based restaurant operation in San Rafael, also has a restaurant in San Francisco proper, and is helping us get our food trucks that are going to be up in the North Bay area ready to roll for the summer and fall season from that perspective. So I'll give a shout out to him. He's a great person and really working hard with the Bay Club family to help us figure out how to take care of our community. So with that, AA, back to you.
Thanks, boss. Well, thank you to everybody who spent time with us this morning. This has been a great conversation, and I just really appreciate your willingness to give an hour and a half of your day so that we can continue to have a conversation with our members and share it out with the membership at large and make sure that everybody's feeling really comfortable about the plans for us to reopen. Tomorrow, we're going to have a conversation with our members from Marin and San Francisco, and then we're going to change the format a little bit. And Matthew and I are going to invite some members of our senior team on. We're going to walk the entire membership base through our plans to get the clubs open and be able to do that for over the course of a couple days, because there's, it's significant changes to what the new normal is going to look like, but we believe it also is going to be the right way to open the clubs and keep our members and our associates safe. So with that, everyone have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.